Todd, thank you so much for joining us. Well, this has been an eventful year for you and your company, Vivint Smart Home. In January, you took the company public, you listed its shares on the New York Stock Exchange. A few months later, you were dealing with the pandemic and cutting costs. What would you say has been the leadership belief that's helped you to navigate through all this?
So Vivint, being a company that provides smart home services to 1.6 million subscribers across the country, in a business that's growing and actually having great success during the pandemic, fortunately for us, it's important to go back to what my dad taught me when I first started my company. He said, if you're going to run a company and provide services, you've got to be extremely focused on delivering the best service possible to your customer base. And then secondly, you've got to be incredibly focused on the main asset of your company, which is the employee base. And so I've really tried to fall back on those as a leader, especially during the pandemic and the crisis, making sure that with everything going on, some of the distractions, complications that come about with running a company that has to be distanced, socially distanced for safety and security, that we just remain really focused on those two things.
So following your father's advice, what have you been saying to your employees? What have you been doing to keep them motivated during these unprecedented times?
For me, the most important thing for the employee base was communication. From myself, from the upper leadership team, from every business unit leader, understanding the changes that we were making, which were very real time, like most companies. Why we were making decisions, how we were making decisions, what adjustments we believed we needed to make short term and medium term, and being very clear and concise about that and open. I personally got on a video feed every week with the employee base, kind of walking through the previous weeks and decisions that have been made, and really talking about real time, the business, the interaction with our consumer base, and how it's feeling about decisions we were making as a company.
The other thing that stood out that I learned about your company is that you've had a pretty good track record when it comes to philanthropy, but you took it to a new level during this pandemic. You motivated your employees to raise money, and they raised $1.5 million, and you matched that dollar for dollar. The money has been donated to frontline healthcare workers, Black Lives Matter, and to people in the community you serve who just need money to get by. Why was this important for you?
You know, I believe, and I think a lot of people believe that when you are blessed with good fortune and opportunity, it's a duty that we should all feel and a desire that we should all have to help and give back. And I really think that's the DNA of Vivint. We're a service-oriented business anyway, so we actually are in the business of serving consumers, protecting them, making sure they feel safe and secure, they have peace of mind. And that doesn't just happen with our employees or with our customers. We have the ability financially to reach out in our local communities on a more national scale. So it's something I just feel that we should do, and we're obligated to do because of our good fortune. And my employee base responds very well to that.
As you look back to 1999, which about 20 years ago, when you started Vivint, how would you describe your leadership beliefs, your leadership style in those times, and how has it changed over the years, especially during this corona crisis?
I think I'm more patient. I understand that things come about like this pandemic, and maybe when I was younger, I would have been maybe a little bit more reactive, maybe not in the right way, but we made good, patient, sound decisions, not knee-jerk decisions that I think brought comfort to our employee base and feeling that we were safe and secure as a business, financially sound, and that we had a great future. So I think I've just maybe matured from a leadership perspective. I do believe I still have the energy I had back then and excitement about the future of the business, because I do have that.
Well, Todd, as you know, there was a time when CEOs would steer clear when it came to talking about controversial issues or social issues, even if it directly impacted their employees or their customers or the communities that they serve. But that seems to be changing. How do you think your responsibilities is changing as CEO?
I think that we all know that things have changed from a leadership perspective, from a CEO, and not just the CEO, but the upper management of any company, inside of their company with their employee base, to be the moral leaders of all things that are happening, social injustices, financial issues that go on in the work environment. All of these things are critical and crucial. I think in the past, people did put their heads down. It was the easier path, but it's now expected and needed, most importantly. So I feel that same thing for myself, that I need to do more, be more open to having those conversations and leading from the front.